For so long, I was that guy that built guys to the main event scene, wanting to make guys look better than they are. Baron Corbin is dead, as far as we know.
People were really surprised, but they weren't renewing your contract.
People were shocked. I was shocked.
TNA, AEW, or New Japan.
As far as AEW, I wouldn't want to be just another WWE guy that came there. I would love to go to New Japan.
Is it going to be as Tom Pestock?
No, I got to do me. So I'm going with the Nomad Bishop Dyer.
You have a reputation for being safe to work with.
Yes, I can maximize things like a punch and get the same reaction if I do a superplex.
What was the original Money in the Bank plan?
I think Vince saw me becoming world champion.
Do you think the door is open to go back to WWE?
I think so. I don't think it ever closes.
Well, it's good to see you again.
Yes, number 3, right?
Yeah, yes. And you're fresh off your first ever indie booking.
Oh, man. Yeah, yes. Fresh off the plane out of New York City, GCW, Bloodsport.
This is the interesting thing when a lot of people get released or their contract's not renewed from WWE, people just go, oh, they'll just work the indies.
Yeah.
You've never done this before, though.
No. It's funny, man. I put in 13 years with WWE, and that was my first ever in-ring experience was WWE. You know, most guys come from the independent world or whatever. There's a few of us that, skip that whole process, more so now, too, with all of the NIL and bringing athletes from college. So you don't kind of get that taste of the other side, if you will. You know, like Gable's another guy who, he came from Olympic wrestling, and all these people love wrestling, but it's a different world out there. I now know and can say that I actually know, working an independent show.
That crowd seemed to be into you.
It was why I was so nervous going into it. And you always get good nervous when you're doing a show, especially massive arenas in front of lots of people, big matches.
Yeah, that was Hammerstein Ballroom.
Yes, but it was a different nervous for me because I had no idea how they were going to react to me. Also, GCW is known for its crazy matches and, wild bumps that guys are taking. And we're going to put on a Bloodsport match, which is we're grappling and we're hitting each other a lot harder than we would if it was not a Bloodsport match. And I was like, man, how's the audience going to take to this style match? I was worried, if I planned a match or put something together that had a lot of the jiu-jitsu grappling and all of that in a WWE ring, it just doesn't translate as well.
Sure.
I think, especially with the audience being families and kids, they would get bored very quickly of watching the same reason, a lot of kids don't watch UFC, if you will, because they don't understand the grappling, the technique, and it's chess, not checkers. They're trying to set things up, and sometimes that takes a minute or a minute and a half to set up a triangle or an arm bar. And so going in front of that crowd that I know is rowdy, and I'm going, man, how are they going to react to not hearing Baron Corbin? How are they going to react to hearing Tom Pestock? Are they just going to chant Corbin, or are they going to boo me out of this building? I had zero insight to what was going to happen. It was very surreal, and ended up getting some pretty cool chants.
They were chanting Big F and Tom, yeah. Big F and Tom.
It helps when you're twice the size of most of those guys. So that was crazy. Got to use my new entrance music that the guys put together, and from Downstait. They did Cody's music, and
they do my music.
They do your music.
Yeah,
they're super dope.
Ziggler, Miz, Cardona.
They're so dope.
They're the best.
Such cool guys. So I got to use that. So that was really cool.
Welcome to the Downstait family.
I know. And the cool thing is when they reached out to me too, we're going to go off topic here for a subject. They reached out and they're like, these are our influences. And one of them was Seven Dust, Lejean. Lejean's a good buddy of mine. And I was like, maybe we can get Lejean on the track. And they're like, no way. And so I texted him. He's like, I'm fully in. So we're trying to set it up. Now they did a whole track without him, but they want him to kind of do the first verse and run the chorus. And it's like, dude, that'll be so sick.
So
it's
cool.
just kind of a cool full circle moment for me to bring one of my buddies in to be a part of the entrance music. And then, these guys, the tracks they're laying down. Look at Cody's music. It's massive. And I think it's helped elevate him to the level he's at, amongst many other things. But that plays an important role. And when you have audiences singing that. But and then last night, we finished the Bloodsport match, and I got a please come back chant. And I'm like, these are guys that have hated me for years. 10 years of telling me how horrible I am on social media, and now they're like, please come back. And I love it. obviously I think that whole Wolf Dog run with Braun and NXT and getting to just do me for once and getting to showcase what I'm truly capable of and getting out there and being able to work longer matches and do more things that I want to do, I think opened their eyes to like, yo, like he got us for 10 years. Like he was actually really good at what he was doing, but he's also really good at this. And so it was a cool self-gratifying moment to get that in that arena with those fans.
It is a new year, and we're all about setting goals and actually hitting them. And what you fuel your body with really matters, which is why I want to talk about today's sponsor, Huel. Their Black Edition ready to drink is a complete meal in a bottle. High in protein, low in sugar, and packed with all the nutrients that you need to perform at your best. You can find Huel at GNC, Amazon, or directly at Huel.com. And for new customers shopping at Huel.com, you can try it for 15% off and get a free gift when you use my exclusive code, which is INSIGHT. When I'm on the go recording interviews like this one that you're watching right now, sometimes it's hard to prepare a meal, and that's where Huel Black Edition really saves the day. It keeps me full, it keeps me energized, and ready to tackle whatever comes my way. Huel is a perfectly balanced meal, taking the guesswork out of eating healthy. There's no prep, no cooking, just grab a Huel and go. And it tastes amazing. You can choose from either chocolate or vanilla. I've been going with chocolate more often than not these days. High protein meals for under $5. My favorite is that black ready to drink, 35 grams of protein, 27 vitamins and minerals, all in one bottle. So take the leap and join the other Hueligans, brother. Hueligans. This is an exclusive offer for new customers, only 15% off and a free gift when you use the code INSIGHT at Huel.com. Did you have any sort of eye-opening moments? This is your first indie show ever.
I mean, the whole thing is kind of funny. Again, I had zero expectations on what I was going to get, how it was going to work. Flying out to New York, and everything is different, right? I mean, normally I'm used to getting travel in my app. I get on my plane, I land, I book my own rental car, I go do my thing, get to the building, and there's security, a staff entrance, a locker, everything. And I get there and it's like Wild West almost. Like, do I just walk in the front door? What time do I need to be there? Like nothing. It's like, do this. But so I get there and I'm talking, I'm like, I need some water or some caffeine. And I'm like, oh, I should have brought my own. So this is pretty crazy to me is I walk across the street to Walgreens or CVS, whichever it is. And I'm looking at the street and I'm staring at the front of MSG. And I'm looking at MSG going, that's Madison Square Garden. I'm looking behind me and I'm going, that's the Ballroom. Like, we're doing 2,000 here. We've done like 15,000 there. And I was like, man, I main evented Madison Square Garden with The Undertaker, Roman Reigns. It was me and Kevin Owens, I think, versus Taker and Roman Reigns. It was Taker's very last match ever in the Garden. And then I've also been over there where they kind of didn't tell me what I was doing on a show, and I went out and Vince came out to the ring and cut a whole promo on the mic about how awesome I am, and then Cena came out and I fought Cena in Madison Square Garden. So I've got Vince, I've got Cena, I got Roman, I've got Undertaker, and I've also got several other matches in Madison Square Garden. It was kind of a humbling moment to be now on the outside of that, looking at MSG, knowing I've headlined that building, and then turning around and like seeing what I'm doing tonight. Totally different world, different arena, different crowd, obviously much smaller. And I think it was kind of a humbling moment of like what I've accomplished in life and like how you can continue to go down that path, but it can be very different. It's a different world, but same world. And so I think it was just like a kind of a ground shaking moment for me, just like to appreciate everything over the last like 13 years of WWE and the magnitude of it. And because like when you're in it so much, sometimes not that I ever took it for granted, but you can lose a little bit of appreciation for the magnitude of things you're doing and the greatness of it. And when it's gone, sometimes you realize it hits you a lot harder than you think. Like, I was okay. I mean, my contract ended January 1st. I was okay. I was at peace with it all. And it's like one of those moments where like, man, like how much do I really miss it? Like Do I want to get back to that level? Do I want to try to get to a point where I put myself in a position where, hey man, I'm going to do the Garden again with Cody Rhodes or CM Punk or someone like that? Is that something I want? Like, so I stood on that corner for like 15 minutes, freezing to death because it was so cold in New York, but just like looking back and forward at the same time.
Sure.
Like I'm literally dead in the middle of two very different stops in my life. And so it was really cool. It was like one of those moments, you know, sometimes you just stand there and you just feel alive and like what you've done. And like, you know, my wife, my family, like they've seen what I've done, but they don't understand sometimes the magnitude of what I've accomplished in wrestling world, you know, and it was just a really cool thing. And then to go into that show with that energy, you know, to go fight Josh Barnett, who's a guy who's made a living at beating people up, and he's one of the best at it, and he's tough as nails. And sometimes you come upon people and you just see, like, I can look at somebody and usually tell for the most part, like, this dude has some grit, and like he's one of those guys. When you're standing in front of him, you're going like, this is going to be a fight. Like there's very few people in the world like that. So it was just such a cool moment for me in life in general to be standing on that corner in between the two buildings, like looking past, present, future, all at one moment.
Having an existential crisis.
But it wasn't even that. It was like euphoric in a sense. Like it was just something where it was like, this is cool. Like my life it's cool. Like it's fun and exciting, and it makes you appreciate it. And I think it made me appreciate the show even more last night with GCW and the opportunity I had to do that Bloodsport match with Josh and be in front of that crowd. Like it's such a cool spectrum, and to stand in the middle of it was really awesome.
One of the biggest differences is the reins are off now. You're in control.
100%.
You're the one who's going to decide how the rest of this year goes and then into next year. What do you want to do?
I mean, a lot of things. Like I'm always a guy who's got multiple like things in the fire. Like always when it was WWE, I was doing you know, food stuff on my social media, or I started a coffee company, was doing the coffee company, and then, you know, all the family stuff and like that. But now I'm going to have an opportunity where I don't have to ask permission to do something. I've also been smart with all of my money that I've made over the years with WWE, because I watched how quickly it can end. You know, when I left the NFL, it's like no more paychecks. Like, and you go, oh man, like it ends that quick. I was playing ping pong and now I don't have a job. Like it's crazy. And so I put myself in a position now that I can literally just do the things I want to do. I don't have to do things because I have to do them. And I think that's a really freeing thought process. And so like I can take risks. Like I want to do movies. I want to do TV shows. And I want to do like horror movies or thriller movies or like darker action kind of films. Like anything in that world, whether it's television, it's Netflix, it's Hulu, or, you know, it's the B-rate horror movies that are amazing, that I just, my guilty pleasures, I love them. You know, that's the world I want to dive into, and it's risky, it's scary, and it's, you know, a lot of people don't make it, but how many things have I already accomplished that a lot of people don't? You know, NFL, 1% of college players make it to the NFL and made it to WWE, made it to the top of the roster, main evented around the world, all of those things. How many people get that opportunity? You know, I was talking to the Usos one time, and they'd never had a singles match at Mania, and they've been in the WWE longer than I have, and I'd had like 3 at that time. I had Ambrose, I had Kurt Angle, and Drew McIntyre, and it was like, whoa, like it's crazy to think that. And so I think that, you know, if I go after that, it's something I can accomplish. And you need a little bit of luck, a little bit of opportunity. Stages like this, you know, coming here and talking with you, maybe somebody hears this and is like, oh man, he'd be perfect for this, or I know somebody here. It's a lot of connections, as you know, to get into that world. You know, I signed with CAA with Ross, and he's going to do an amazing job with helping me get some opportunities. And it's up to me now. I control everything that happens right now. I can take independent shows that I want to take, like GCW. I would definitely go back. It was so fun. That crowd was amazing, energetic, passionate. And that show was like 5 hours last night because unfortunately one of the girls broke her ankle in the second match, and like with the New York commission, it kind of put a hold on the show for like 40 minutes. And it was like, how do we restructure to try to get the crowd back and all of those things after this like long intermission? And they were just as passionate when we got back to work as they were when they started. You know, I want to go to Japan. I want to wrestle in Japan. Like I've wrestled there quite a few times with WWE, but never like that New Japan company. You know, like that's something that, you know, AJ and Finn and Gallows and Anderson and Shinsuke and all those guys, they did that. I never got to do it before WWE like they did. So I'm like, man, let's go do it now. Like, I love it over there. I love the culture. I love the history of the wrestling business over there. So many stars, so many traditions. I think it's so cool. So I want to go there and do that. I want to go to Food Network, do some like food stuff. I'm going to go to Miami. I think in like 4 weeks for the Miami Food Festival to meet some of the people. Michael
South Beach
Simon,
Food and Wine Festival.
Man.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go eat with Michael Simon, and I'm gonna go to some of Guy Fury stuff. I had a friend reach out about potentially doing Beat Bobby Flay, like not as a competitor, but as a host. Like that would be amazing. And I want to win some more gold medals in jiu-jitsu. Like I got my purple belt last week, 2 weeks ago after our professor tried to kill us with 8-minute rounds. We basically went like 104 minutes or something like that, 106 minutes, whatever it is, straight, just beating the crap out of each other. So I'm going to do a couple more tournaments there. I'd like to do Pan Am games. Like I'm just kind of flooring it in all of these different avenues.
It sounds like the floodgates are open now.
They
like
are.
all the things you've wanted to do for the last few years. You're like, well, now I can do them.
Yeah. And like WWE gave me a platform to be able to try to do these things. Like obviously, Tom Pestock, there would be no Baron Corbin without WWE. There would be no Tom Pestock in a sense of celebrity, lack there of better term, but like someone of a brand. You know, I've built a brand around my name with WWE helping, obviously. So having that resume is going to make it a little bit easier than it would be for someone who's got no head start. And so, yeah, man, the door's just opened, and I'm going to do as much and as many things as I can.
Is wrestling still a passion for you?
Oh yeah.
So like, is it an option to go to TNA or AEW or New Japan?
I mean, like I said, I would love to go to New Japan. I think for multiple reasons, like, and you know, the door never closes with WWE either. And as far as AEW, their fans, they like that AEW in a sense is, you know, its own entity and built from the ground up. And I don't want to be, if I went there out of respect for that world, I wouldn't want to be just another WWE guy that came there because they left WWE. Like I would rather go and do like New Japan for a year or whatever, or more. Who knows? Maybe that's where I just love it and I stay there for the rest of my wrestling career. So if I ever did go that route, I would want to kind of clear that, oh, he's just a WWE guy coming over. Like Baron Corbin is dead as far as we know. Like we're dropping new name, new moniker, new character. I love wrestling. I love the creativeness of it. I love the freedom. I love performing in front of an audience and getting that live feedback in the moment. There's nothing better. Like, you know, if I want to go into the movie world, I filmed a movie last week and it'll be out in 2026. Like you have to wait for that. And I like that instant gratification of a wrestling audience. You know, in the moment what they're feeling and how they're feeling about you. So nothing beats that. It's like being a rock star. Like it's so cool and so fun. And I mean, it's what I love to do. And I think that too, for me, you know, with my contract ending and WWE deciding not to renew, obviously that hurt and lights a fire because I felt like in my WWE career, I was in like uncharted water in a sense. I had gone to NXT, reinvented myself, and put a lot of work into it, even though like I didn't agree with some of it. Like I had a conversation before I went to NXT. I was sat down. I'm going to be polite. We talked about it walking in. Bruce Pritchard, I'm going to be polite. I think that, you know, he was like, you know, it's just not working. We want you to go down there, reinvent yourself, new moves, lose a little weight, blah, blah, blah. And I did. And I think it was maybe not meant for me to succeed as well as I did down there, but they've got such an amazing system there with the talent they have, with the producers they have, and with the coaches they have and the writers. It's impossible not to succeed down there, like impossible. And I think I killed it and it couldn't be denied. And then I went back to the main roster and I just, you know, I'm a very open, truthful person. I'm not capable of lying or BSing about things. But like when I got up there, I feel like someone was holding me down in a sense of like that wasn't supposed to work, because I would go out and do dark matches, or when I did wrestle on TV, like the crowd was insane for me. It was the best reactions I'd had in years since I was the king or the constable. Like when I was getting all that heat, this was the opposite. I was getting people chanting my names. Like there were times in matches where Apollo would be getting beat up and they'd be chanting my name and he'd just look at me, he's like, "You're over." Like it would be crazy every night. It would be crazy. My reactions, and with no ego, I say, aside from maybe Cody, Randy, and Kevin, were the best on the whole show every night on SmackDown. And that's doing dark matches or doing TV, like Berlin when we did that tag match. Like they were insane. And I would come back through the curtain and Rigo would always be like, "This is amazing. Like the work is awesome. They love you." Road Dogg would be like, "Corbin, you're over in this town." And I'd be like, "It's every town, dude. Like it's not just like a one-off." Like, and even, one of the writers we were talking about, and they were like, "Oh, we want to change you to heel." And I'm like, "I don't know, man. We've never done this babyface. They wanted me to be different. Like, what do we have?" And then we went out there, and it was, I don't remember what city it was, Arkansas or somewhere. And it was crazy. They blew the roof off for me, like chanting my name in the match when I wasn't even in the match, like standing on the apron or whatever, cheered for everything. And I walked back, and Chad's like, he's like, "I told him," it's the head writer of SmackDown. He goes, "I told him that you should just walk back here and give us both the finger and walk off because the reaction was so good." And so I think that was frustrating. So I'm like, man, there's still something there, maybe unresolved, that I could get back and accomplish as that baby face with the cheering. And I think it made me hungrier to succeed, being told, man, we're going to go a different direction. Like after already being told like, "Hey, we want you to go change everything," and you do it and it's successful. And it's not like, I'm very self-aware at the same time. Like there were times with the JBL stuff. I think it could have worked if we'd done it differently, which we'd pitched several ideas. I mean, JBL's the man. Like he's unbelievable what he is. He sent in amazing pitches and they died in the wind somewhere. But I'd stand out there and go, "Man, you could feel it. It's not working. Like I'm not getting the reactions I want," or anything like that. To where like 6 months ago, I'm telling you, the reactions were everything was there. It was firing on all cylinders. I'd recreated everything like I was asked to do. I've always done everything that I've been asked to do. And then to be like, we're going to go in a different direction. It's like, what? Like that was frustrating because there's nothing you can do at the end of the day. And I was talking to Randy about it. A lot of guys reached out, "I'm sorry," and guys you expect like Seth and Finn and Kevin, and those dudes are amazing people. And, Punk and Randy, but Randy's like, he's like, "Dude, I honestly thought you were like going to be here another 10 years. He's like, "I don't understand it." He's like, "Do you mind if I talk to Hunter about it?" I don't know if he ever did, but he's like, "Somebody doesn't like you." And I'm like, there's nothing I can do to change that. I feel like I know who it is. And that's besides the point, but they had power enough to either kill creative or whatever it is. And they got to go to bed with that at the end of the night. That's on them. But for 13 years, like I made this entity that is me and is Tom Pestock. And I think it's going to help continue to push me. And again, I wouldn't have had that without WWE. I wish it hadn't ended like it did. I wish I had more opportunity to continue with this babyface thing. Like nobody wants it to end, any job. Like it's not fun. But it's also exciting at the same time. Like, because now I can literally do whatever. I can try to create something new. I can go in different directions. I think the most frustrating part for me is not understanding why really there's an ulterior motive there, because again, I've been a company guy through and through. I've never said no to doing something. I've made everything work that I've been given. Not complained. I've never once complained online. You can send me to talk to ESPN. You can send me to talk to Boys and Girls Club. I fit the mold of a professional. I dress professional. I show up professional. I don't miss show. 13 years, never once missed a show or training or anything because of injury or being sick. Like not once, not even COVID. Like I was a hero during COVID, in my opinion. Like I was on every show, sometimes both shows. I've been a team player through and through. And I think maybe in the end it hurt me a little bit, always being the guy that's like, "Yeah, no problem. Oh, you need Finn Balor, the Demon, to beat me up in 3 minutes at SummerSlam? Okay, no problem. Like, cool. And so it was a weird place to be, but I think now, again, that moment yesterday, standing in between the two buildings, like it's like pretty cool to go, yeah, man, I was here, now I'm here. How do we get back to there? Not necessarily WWE, but that level of accomplishment.
New year, new you, and there's a lot of things from 2024 that you shouldn't be bringing into 2025. And I don't want to point any fingers here, but for some wrestling fans, body odor is one of those things. So what you should be bringing into 2025 is Mando whole body deodorant. Mando gives you the confidence to know that you aren't stanking it up wherever you are. You can use this really anywhere on your body. Your pits, your feet, your thighs, your man parts, wherever. And it's clinically proven to block odor all day and control odor for up to 72 hours. Choose from a variety of scents like bourbon leather, Clover Woods, Mount Fuji, or Pro Sport. This was created by a doctor who saw firsthand how normal BO was being misdiagnosed and mistreated. That's why this works. So if you want to try America's #1 whole body deodorant, you can now find them in Walmart, Target, or other retailers across the country. Or for the best deals, go to shopmando.com. And the Mando starter pack is perfect for new customers. It comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice like a mini body wash and deodorant wipes, and free shipping. And as a special offer, because you're watching this right now, you can get $5 off your Mando starter pack by using my code CVV at shopmando.com. That equates to over 40% off your starter pack, but you got to use my code. It's CVV at shopmando.com.
I think people were really surprised when the news came out that they weren't renewing your contract.
It was like 2.5 million views on my tweet alone. Like, people were shocked, and a lot of people
Were
in
you
the
shocked?
business. I was shocked. I could weirdly kind of, when your gut instinct tells you something, and like I said, I think there's one person in particular that I think was behind all of it, and it sucks, but it is what I'm not gonna cry over it. Like, I'm not, because I'm grateful for everything I had there and every opportunity that I had there. I can't let one person put me in a bad place. I'm not gonna let one person control my emotions. Like, I mean, the fact that Randy Orton's calling me going, there's someone that doesn't like you. And again, I know who it is. And I told him, and he's like, yeah, you're probably right. But when you have someone of that magnitude being like, I'm going to talk to Hunter, like, it makes you feel good, because, a lot of other people see the flip side of it. They're like, oh man, no, he's really good. Like, no one can do what I do, in a sense of going out and make people believe in the authenticity of what I'm doing, whether it's Happy Corbin, Sad Corbin, or Wolf Dogs, or the new stuff I was doing with Burn the Ships, and just being myself. People believed it, and then also too, I could make people believe. I got beat 10 million times, but people were still booing me and still having fun. And when I would work with different baby faces, again, when I would lose every single week, they still bought that there was a chance I was going to win, a chance that I would screw this guy over. And that's a special talent to have. And also to do it without complaining. There's a lot of guys that walk around boo-boo facing when they're getting the win or whatever it is. And I did my job, and I was happy to do it. And when I look back, we were talking earlier, I was like, maybe I should have been a little more selfish with what I did. It could have hurt me, and I could have been done 3 or 4 years ago. You never know. Or, it could have helped me, because there are some guys that are that way. And, you see it benefits some and doesn't benefit the others. I don't know. There's no right path to take to find all the success that you want.
It just feels like people were just starting to appreciate how underutilized you are. I mean, over the last maybe year or two, people were going, man, you could put Corbin in there with anyone.
Absolutely.
And it's going to be great.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I could have never got to run with Cody. There's other guys I would love to run, with Gunther. I would love to run with Finn again, AJ again, like Punk, like these guys that I haven't really got to work with, because I've never worked with Cody or Gunther or Punk. They want fresh. What's fresher than a guy who's spent 10 years as a bad guy is now a babyface that gets fantastic reactions working with guys he's never worked with? Like, that's what you want. And it's frustrating, because I even, like, 2 weeks prior, there's a few things that are very frustrating to me. I was asked to go change everything, and I did. And then I come up, and a month before I'm released, Hunter's standing next to me at the ring, and he's like, "You should be really proud at reinventing yourself. You've accomplished a lot." And then a month later, you're like, "Oh, they're not going to renew." And you're like, "Wait, a month ago, Hunter told me how good I was doing." And then, so that was kind of like just weird. And then, and I love Hunter. Like, I don't think he's the guy by any means. So anybody listening, don't read into that. He's not the guy. The guy has helped me every step of the way. He built my entrance in NXT when I first came through main roster. He's given me more advice than I could ever ask for that helped my career. And, we talk about our families. I love Hunter to death, and I always will. I think what Hunter does is amazing. And him and I are, in tune with like music and the way we see things, and having badass heels that can beat people up, and not just comedy heels. Like, I think we're more aligned with our thought on philosophy of how things work. So that was a bummer to have that. And then we'd send in like 2 great pitches of, like, one of them I had involved. Chad's one of the writers, and I think he's one of my favorite writers to work with because he's very creative. And I'll send him an idea, and he'll help me like mold it into a true wrestling pitch. But we sent an idea that was like one whole thing, and it was going to get like 6 people involved in it, and it was not centered around me. Like, it was centered around a group of different individuals, and it was breaking guys like Carmelo off and Andrade off into different things. And like, I've always been a guy that's like, how can I get other people around me and bring them up? So, I'm not sitting in a pitch like, oh, I do this and jump Cody Rhodes and I win the world title. Like, that's not my pitch. My pitch is involving LA Knight. It's Carmelo, it's Andrade, it's Apollo, it's Garza and them. It's like, how can we involve all these people and make it an interesting story? Like, those are the type of pitches I sent in. And then, another good thing about leaving, one of the like, I'm trying to find like benefits. Like, how do we, what's a good thing? So, and I just lost my train of thought.
The silver lining of these.
Yeah,
right?
the silver lining is like, I think for so long I was that guy that built guys to the main event scene. I spent 6 months wrestling Rollins, and then he goes to SummerSlam to face Brock Lesnar. I spent 7 months with Roman. For multiple reasons, I'm that guy. I can get the reaction to the matches. They're really good matches. I can work with anybody. I don't have bad chemistry with anyone. And I think that's attributed to wanting to make guys look better than they are. And I'm safe. Like, I keep dudes safe in the ring. They're not going to get hurt. So if they're building Seth Rollins for WrestleMania, who do we put him with building up to WrestleMania that checks all those boxes? And it's me, and I'm fine with that role. Like, yeah, do I want to be world champion? Hell yes, I did. Nobody wanted that more than I did.
Yeah, is there a point where you're like, I'm putting all these other people over?
Yeah, when do I get mine?
Yeah, when's my turn?
Yeah, for sure. 100%. And that's always like, that's why I was there. I wanted to be world champion. I wanted to have that accolade on me for the rest of my life. Like, that's a cool thing to tell people when you're 60, or tell my kids, I was a world champ in WWE. Like, here's a picture of it. Like, whether it was a day run like Kane had or whatever, I wanted that moment. And I did it for a lot of people. I built Braun to go. I mean, not that these people needed building, but I worked with these guys. Braun went on, then he won the title from Bray Wyatt. And then, Seth Rollins, I worked with him. He went to SummerSlam to Brock Lesnar. Roman Reigns did that. He went to WrestleMania. And, I'm not getting those big moments, but I had a lot of great big moments.
You were in a lot of main events.
There were so many. Yeah, there was one time I was talking about the other day that I said, people don't realize, like, there was a Europe tour, and we used to do like 14-day Europe tours. You'd do a TV in the States, fly to Europe, do a TV there, finish there, fly back, and do a TV back in the States. It was like a 14-day run. Roman and I main evented 30 minutes every single night, like 12 days, 12 shows, 14 days.
Wow.
Doing TLC matches. Like, we were putting each other through tables every night all over Europe, in the States. And like, all of those were main events. Like, I main evented like basically 2 years straight, because I was running with Seth, with Roman, and then a little bit with Kurt and Braun. Like, those were all main events. And that was 3-4 shows a week that you're doing that. But again, my silver lining to no longer being there is I can kind of shake that stigma. I can shake the stigma of, he's the guy that just puts people over on to go to their big moments. And he's a good guy to put people over. Like, let's say I go away for a year. Our audience with Netflix going on and SmackDown going to USA, our audience turns over. Like, this deal they have with Netflix is going to bring so many new viewers that, a year from now, they're going to have no idea who Constable Corbin was. Like, or the audience is going to change. So I can come back and not have that stigma necessarily attached. If that was something I do, I'm standing here saying I don't know if I would ever go back. If they call me right now, I would respectfully say, no, thank you. I need to clear this. I need to fix this, which is what I thought I did in NXT. But when I went back to the main roster, I think there are some writers that still have that. Oh, well, Corbin's our guy for this. This is what he does. So I kind of want that to go away. Like, I almost lost it one time. I was so angry, and I don't get angry that easy at stuff like this. Like I said, I try not to let people control my emotions. It's just one of those things. And I try to teach that to my kids, because then you're always going to go around letting other people affect you. Like, my daughter smoked some chick in the arm in class, and I got a call from the teacher. Like, your daughter punched her in the arm. And I was telling my daughter, like, you can't let people control your emotions like that. I was like, I'd punch 25 people a day if that was the case. But I was sitting with the head writer of SmackDown, and it still just kind of makes my blood boil, because it doesn't pertain just to me. But I was just like, hey, do we have any ideas? What are you thinking creatively? And he's like, well, we got Jacob up and running, so we're gonna need bodies for him. And I was like, we're not bodies, dude. Nobody on this roster is just a body. Like, that was so frustrating to hear. And like I said, it doesn't pertain to me, but it just goes, this is what you think of. Like, I've been here at this point 12 years, and I'm a body, like, for somebody else. Like, dude, if you want to say something like that, go, hey man, like, we think you'd be great because you could help build Jacob. Like, you could make him look like a monster. Dope, let's go. But we're going to need bodies. Like, he's referring to the bottom half of the roster when you say that. And I'm like, it's so disrespectful to say that about people who go out there and put their life on the line every night, because careers can be ended in an instant. I mean, look at Big E. Like, one suplex wrong, and he may never wrestle again. Like, it can end like that. Yeah. Or you can end up a quadriplegic. All of these things could happen. It's your livelihood. It's how you put food on the table. I'm so gracious to have such a long career that I don't have to worry about that. But if you're 3 years in and you're just a body and you're disregarded as not even a human being in a sense, like, come on, dude. Like, it takes everybody, from guys who are there to be extras. They're just as important as talent in a sense, because without those guys doing that, we don't have major superstars. You need guys that can do that and do it well. Like, I think that's harder sometimes than being the top guy. When everything is fed to you, you're given every opportunity, you're built on this pedestal. Like, when you're all the dudes clawing at the bottom to try to get there, like, it's way harder to be down there and survive and be happy and successful than it is to be, oh, this is our guy. We wrote his name right there, so everything else funnels to him. Like, that's easy to be up there. Like, it's the only hard part is the amount of time it takes. But when you're put on a pedestal, it's much easier than being guys fighting for those 2-3 minutes on a show, and then to refer to them as bodies. And I said something, and he was like, I didn't even think about how I said it that way. But I was just like, this is why it's good that I'm going away for a little while regardless. And I think when I went to NXT again, I thought that was going to accomplish that. And I think it did, because when I came back, the audiences were so excited to see me. The reactions were amazing. This may do it times 10. And it might, again, this might lead to, I'm going to go try to shoot this horror movie in Portugal at the end of the year. That's called Slash Them. It's going to be super dope. It's a super gory movie. I got a chainsaw. It'll be dope. They're trying to get it financed right now. And maybe I go into that world and I never look back. Yeah, I don't know what the future holds. I think that's another exciting thing to all of this, is the doors are open everywhere. I just got to find my way through them. And
in wrestling, is it going to be as Tom Pestock?
No.
Okay.
I'm letting it out right now. I'm going to go, because I got to do me at the end of the day still, right? And like, I've talked to you about having, like, I want to go here, I want to go here, I want to go here, I want to go to New Japan, TNA is called, so maybe there's something there, maybe NWA. Like, I'm open to it all, because I love wrestling, and if I can go somewhere and be in front of fans, I'm going to go. Like, it's just, I know that I don't want to sign like a contract right now, because I like this ability, and so I'm going with the Nomad Bishop Dyer. I'm going to be the nomad. I'm going to roam, man. And I'm going to go to all these different, and then Bishop Dyer, I think,
DIRE?
DYER, like
Okay.
Dyer. Changed them a little bit because it pays tribute to the wolf, the lone wolf, dire wolf. And then a bishop is higher than a baron. So, we're going up.
Oh.
The rankings are going up. And so it's getting trademarked. So don't even try it, suckers. Getting trademarked right now. But I think it's a powerful name. It's a cool name. And I want to be the nomad, man. I'm going to float and see, where the wrestling world takes me in that sense.
I'm sure Baron Corbin is trademarked.
It
Corbin
is.
Probably wasn't.
I don't think so.
You could have been just Corbin if you wanted.
So I think so, and you could change the spelling. And I spoke in length with this with a buddy of mine, and Sam. Obviously, he does so many podcasts. Sam Roberts. I constantly call and bug him about his thoughts, and my wife. And they're like, if you want to create something new, be something new.
Yeah.
Don't because even my guy that's doing the trademark, he's like, well, what about Bishop Corbin? And I said, it's still WWE. I want to shed that. I want to take Bishop Dyer to a level. Cody's a great example. Cody left, created this entire thing that has made him who he is today. And he never, granted his first show, he's smashing Hunter's chair, but he let go of that and just did him, and then he brought it back, and it's completely different. Nobody on the independent world or AEW or wherever he was saying, "Oh, that's just Cody from WWE." Nobody
he
was
left
saying
as Stardust.
Yes.
So to leave as Stardust and come back as Cody Rhodes, a massive departure.
Yes. So I just want to shed it all and see what I can create. And let's say, I'm not even 3 months out of WWE, so it's going to be our main focus of our conversation. But when I come back, maybe let's say a year from now in 2026, they go, "Hey, we want you in the Rumble," and I go, and it's Baron Corbin. I go, he's dead. Bishop Dyer's the guy.
So Baron Corbin's dead.
I think he's dead. And there's no looking back. That burn the ships thing that I did. It's a true life philosophy. I'm not looking back. I'm always going forward. They burned the boats when they landed on an island. They said, if we're leaving this island, we're leaving on the enemy's boats, or we're dying in these fields. And I think that's my philosophy. I'm going forward, man. I'm not gonna hang on to the past. People know who I am. I did that show last night as Tom Pestock. People know that. And then too, there's just little things you think of that make sense. My wife would, and I discussed, when actors do new movies, they don't keep the same name in a new movie. That they are who they are. They have a name, which is Tom Pestock, and Baron Corbin was a WWE character. Bishop Dyer is now the nomad, wandering the streets of the independents, or like I said, I keep going. I want to go to New Japan, and I saw something online. They were like, "Oh, they're interested. I would love that." Call me up, dude. Let's go. I want to do that style and stuff. So I think he's just buried for now. We're gonna leave him. We put some dirt on top, and Baron Corbin is dead in that sense of moving forward with that. Obviously, if we were talking about signings in the car. Yeah, Baron Corbin figure. Yeah, I'll sign it as Baron Corbin. It's still there. Jack Sparrow signs Jack Sparrow as that, not as Johnny Depp. It's one of those things. I think these different characters will play different parts in life, and now we're on to the new one.
Did you feel like you had the chance to take it and run with it in WWE? For example, when you were Money in the Bank, when you had the Money in the Bank, was there okay, you're going to win Money in the Bank, and then it's going to lead to this?
There were so many instances of that in my career, and you kind of lose faith in it in a sense of, this is the plan, this is where we're going, and then it changes 6 hours later.
So what was the original Money in the Bank plan?
I think Vince saw me becoming world champion, and I think that winning that, he's like, you're going to hold it for a while, because I think Jinder being champ also played a part of not only him doing his thing because he's an incredible performer, but also they were trying to get certain demographic of an audience, so that helped. And like they had no intentions of changing that title at that time. So it was to carry it, and it was eventually to take it off of gender, but obviously it did not come to fruition. But there's other times where things like that with Kurt Angle, it was supposed to be this whole thing where he was never going to wrestle again. I was going to have a gold medal. I was going to do this whole thing, and we were going to run with it. And like, I said it on Twitter one time, or X, whatever it is now. I feel bad that I didn't do more with that, with Kurt giving me that opportunity of, going over at WrestleMania and being a part of his last match and being lucky enough to have that stage with him. I wish I could have accomplished so much more. And I think that's one reason Kurt did it, is there were expectations for me to do it. And then it literally the next Monday night, it took a left turn when they put Kurt out there with Lars. Remember that guy for a hot minute. And he got beat up like right after his retirement match. It was like, wait, what? And then the whole gold medal idea got scrapped because he's like, I just don't think it will mean anything. Like it's so like start and stop with ideas sometimes. And I think it's changing now with H being in charge. I think they see things through much better, for better or worse, which is good, because sometimes it takes more than a week or two to get something through to an audience. And I think there's guys that, Hunter believes in, especially, his crew of guys that he sees, when we're very self-aware of reactions. And I watch everything. I worked with Cena so long, all I do is listen to audiences, and you hear it, and you watch some of these guys come out on an entrance and there's nothing. Like, it doesn't matter if you're giving them WrestleMania pyro when they win the tag titles or whatever it is, or they do these big things, like there's not the reaction you're hoping. And 5 years ago, that would be the end of it. Like, okay, didn't work, we're going here. Where Hunter's like, no, this is going to work. Believe me, let's keep going. And then you start to see it kind of come, and you start to hear that reaction follow. And I think that's a big difference in, they're not losing faith. And it's not that they ever lose faith in talent. They lose faith in the idea, or it just, prior to this, it was just a complete, like, I forgot where we were going. Let's go here instead.
Big thank you to NordVPN for sponsoring this episode and for always supporting the channel. I don't use the internet anywhere without NordVPN. I mean, you've got a lock on your door. You should protect yourself when you're online too. Public Wi-Fi is notorious for being a spot where hackers like to hang out to try to steal your data. NordVPN protects you on there, and I love how easy it is to use, whether that's on your phone, your tablet, or your laptop. And you can change your virtual location with just one click and access content that's not available where you live. You can also use it to get pay-per-views for a fraction of the cost. So head to nordvpn.com/CVV to get yourself protected and to save yourself some money. Look at this deal they have going on right now. Less than $3 a month will get you covered, and you get 4 extra months for free. That's nordvpn.com/CVV. nordvpn.com/CVV.
It's funny because depending on who you ask, you're one of the few people you're either the most overrated or the most underrated.
Yeah.
Especially like, 2017, 2018, man, that guy's so overrated.
Oh, it's worse, so overrated.
And then I think the pandemic time was like, man, this guy's so underrated.
Yeah.
Well, which one is it?
Yeah, I don't think they can make up their minds. It's so funny to have that. I don't think there's anybody else like that. Like you said, hey, he's the most overrated, also underrated at the exact same time.
I think the only other one I can really think of is Ziggler.
Oh yeah, another guy.
Yeah, it's a similar, kind of a situation that.
Well, yeah,
in.
Because you are, when you're in that situation, when you're that guy they lean on to help talent, whatever. You're kind of handcuffed at times. You don't get to do the real cool stuff. You don't get to, it's for a reason. There's a whole, like, what's the saying? Oh man, for me, not for thee, like,
sure,
kind of thing going on. And there's a lot of that there. Like, certain guys are given certain liberties and whatnot. And it's like, well, if I could do that, I could be at the same level. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not true. I don't know. But yeah, when I was doing Constable and stuff like that, like, I was the most overrated, overpushed, over everything. Like, but I was pulling 8 segs a show. Not my fault. I was overexposed in a sense of, like, I'm changing rules to matches. I'm out there in front of the crowd like 6-7 times a show. Backstage is even the King. The whole presentation, they're like, oh man, they're carrying him to the ring. He's so overrated. Like, and then now, yeah, it's like, God, just give him a chance. He's so underrated. He's so good. And it's like, it makes my head spin sometimes. And it's crazy, especially because, like, those fans, like we said, they were calling me overrated, hated me, go away heat, which was not a thing. It was actual heat because you guys actually hated me. But those are the same fans going, wait, no, man, he's actually really good. He's super underrated. Give him more. Like, why is he not IC champ or something like that? Like, it's funny to watch that flip and to hear people say that. Like, I don't know, but I guess that's what happens when you have a 13-year career, 12-year career with big stuff in it. And
you were able to accomplish a lot of things.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
cover
you think
a lot of
about
ground.
The list of people, like, I already listed Taker at MSG, in debut of Fox with The Rock, and how many matches, 100 matches with Cena, SummerSlam with Cena. Drew McIntyre's on fire right now. Worked WrestleMania with him. Like, so many moments. Kurt Angle, Andre, Money in the Bank, King of the Ring. Like, the list of accomplishments. I just don't have that world title. So I think some people go, oh man, he's underappreciated, underrated because he doesn't have that world title. But I have so many accolades in itself.
Your work as Sad Corbin, I think, is so underappreciated. I love this story about this. The Fox executive's daughter felt so bad for you.
Jacob's daughter.
Jacob Ullman, right?
Yeah. She's trying to send me her allowance money. I had a lady in Houston too. I was leaving the building and I'm driving up the rampway, and I had a lady trying to shove a $20 bill in my window. And I was like, if I should have done like the Devon pass the hat, I probably could have retired 3 years ago.
Devon kept all that money, by the way.
I would have too. Why would you not? I'm walking to the ring, I probably could have made $1,000 a night.
For sure.
And if I passed the hat in the stadium,
although not as many people carry cash these days, though.
You'd be surprised. There's a lot of people waving. It's like I was a stripper or something walking down the aisle, and they got 1s and 5s and 10s, and I was like, man, I wish I could just put it in my hat.
Should have.
I know. I regret
incorporated that into the gimmick.
Dude, and they did. Remember they did the GoFundMe.
Yes.
It shut the website down. So many people went to it. It shut because they built like a fake website for it. But so many people, it crashed the little fake site they built. It wasn't an actual GoFundMe. But I was like, dude, you should have legit done a GoFundMe and then donated to charity or something, because it would have been insane. Like, you see what GoFundMe do. Like the girl that broke her ankle last night, I think Cardona and them.
Ali Cash.
She set it up, and it's already over $30,000. Like,
wow.
And that's amazing because, this.
Yeah, I think Steph DeLander set it up.
We talk about going to the other side. Like, there's guys that are in this independent world. Again, it was an eye-opening experience for me of like how hard the road is for some of these guys. They're like at the GCW show last night, guys that aren't on the show, but they're there and they're helping set up, and they're doing it for free. Or there's guys on the show that, they're making a couple $100. Like, they're probably losing money traveling to New York, driving to New York, or whatever it is to do the show. It's a hard life out there for some of these guys. And I think that's what makes it so much sweeter when they succeed, because you see videos like Seth Rollins came from that, man. Like, Punk came from that. Those guys, they worked those indie shows, and like my whole character in NXT was built around making fun of those guys. You got paid in chips and a hot dog, and I got called, come here, sign this big contract. And there's truth to it. I think that's why that resonated so well with that crowd. But like, it is like last night was eye-opening to like what these guys go through to try to make it to the big time. And I flew in a first class on a cushy thing. Paid for part of the ticket myself, but like I have the ability to do that. And so I think, seeing these guys, like Sad Corbin was kind of play on that in a sense. Like, I had nothing and I'm trying to get back to my grips, and like I should have went and worked the indies for like a month and then been like, I have so much more inspiration in a way of like being hungry to like find success, because it's awesome to see. I love seeing, I want everybody to succeed. I want every superstar to exceed. I want them to make money, to live their wildest dreams, to whatever that may be, different amounts of money for different people, whatever makes them happy. I want AEW to succeed, because the more competition that anybody has, whether it be TNA, ROH, WWE, New Japan, like competition breeds the best. Like, I hate this tribalism with the fans of like one company sucks. If it's not for you, just shut your mouth. Like, you don't have to be negative. You don't have to bury it, because if you do, maybe somebody who doesn't know sees that and they're like, oh yeah, I hate it too, when they don't. But like let's kill this tribalism. Let's want everybody to succeed. I want everybody that was at GCW last night to accomplish everything they want to accomplish in the wrestling world, because it's amazing. Like, I've accomplished so much through WWE that it's amazing. I can give my kids a great life, my family. and my wife's a boss, by the way. She's a CEO, runs her own company. It's her company. She'll make more money than I'll ever make. But I want people to have that success. I want people to taste it. I want people to stand on a corner and go, man, like I main evented that arena right there with so-and-so, you know. I want everybody in ROH and TNA and all of these companies to succeed. I want their show to do well. I want their attendance to be amazing. I want those guys to make money. I want TV channels fighting over which shows they want, because it's good for everybody. It's good for sponsors. Which show do we want? Who do we want to, you know, put this emblem on? Like, it's great for everybody involved. It's never hurt to have 2 or 3 or 4 great companies like battling, and it gives guys, you know, at GCW, maybe WWE is not ready for them, so they go to AEW and they find a ton of success and they do amazing things, or at TNA and they do amazing things. So they go to TNA and they start working. Now they have a partnership with WWE. So now WWE's like, whoa, how did we didn't know this guy. Look at Jacob Fatu. Like, he's been doing these amazing things for a number of years.
Yeah.
And now you put him on a made stage and you go, that dude's going to main event Mania for 5 years.
They weren't willing to give him a chance because of his background.
No.
And people kept saying, you got to give this guy a chance. I remember Mark Henry telling a story recently. You got to sign this guy. Finally, they signed him, and it's like, yeah, we should have done this.
He's going to main event 5 WrestleManias.
Wow.
He's incredible.
Yeah,
he is so incredible.
Yeah.
And he's an amazing person, amazing father to his kids. And it's so cool. But like, without this competition in these other worlds, you don't find those guys. Like, you need that. And I think there's plenty of guys that are going to come up over the next few years, and it's going to be I hope there's a bidding war. Like, the ability to be able to, where do I want to go? What's going to be best for me? Well, this side's offering me this much. This one's offering me this much. This place has this where I want to go. This place is tied to this. You know, it's like, that's a great thing for all of it. Like, this tribalism is crazy. And I hate, I'm going to bury, I'm not going to bury, I'm going to be polite. There are certain people on the internet that run, you know, dirt sheets, if you will, and they're the reason for all this. As much as they want to act like they're not, they're the prime hatred spewers. You know, they want to talk down on one thing and it's biased. If it was unbiased, it'd be one thing, but like, most of it is biased. They need to just focus on the things you enjoy. The world, the people, everyone in it needs positivity. Like, I want to hear the great things that are going on in these industries, in these worlds. I have no bitterness to WWE. I never will. That company is so amazing, and the things they've given me are so amazing. The life they've given me are so amazing. The opportunities, I've seen the world because of that company. And I've had so much fun. I've made great friends, and I've performed in an audience. I've changed people's lives all because of WWE. You know, people that I haven't done this, you know, I haven't self-harmed in 2 years because of something you said to me at a signing, at a access, whatever it is. Like, you can change people's lives, and I've been able to do that through WWE. And like, I want other people to have those opportunities. I want other people to have that greatness. I want people like, you know, I get to see guys like Ciampa as an example. Like, he's such a wonderful father to his kid, and like, he's got things to show his kids now that he can be so proud of, that they're going to look up to. And that's because of WWE. Like, and I want that to be an AEW thing too. I want guys over there, you know, FTR, 2 of my favorite people in the world, and you know, amazing father, you know, and his daughter is making my kids bracelets right now. But, you know, Dax is so amazing at what he does, but he has something he can be proud of, and it's not in WWE. Like, what he's accomplishing now, he has something to be so proud of to show his kids. So I want all of that. I want that success for everybody. Like, we got to kill all that like nonsense of one thing's bad, one thing's not.
The tribalism just doesn't make sense to me.
No, none.
There's this quote that I like. It's like, there's 2 ways to have the tallest building in town. It's tear down all the other buildings, or just build a better building.
Yeah.
And if I really didn't like mint chocolate chip ice cream, but I really liked chocolate ice cream, I wouldn't go around talking about how much I hate that flavor of ice cream.
Right.
I would talk about the flavor that I do like.
Right.
Man, you should really try chocolate. It's delicious.
It's so good. I want a chocolate ice cream cone, you know, but like,
I can't believe you like that.
Yeah, how dare you like this mint ice cream? Who's Publix? I hate you. You're selling mint ice cream. Like,
Publix
like,
is great.
It's well, I saw 4 people buy chocolate and only 1 person bought mint. Like, who cares, dude? That person likes mint.
I think one of the beautiful things about independent wrestling is that hunger that's there. And especially like seeing people that are sleeping in their car,
Dude.
or 5 people in a hotel room, you know, just trying to make it work. Is it going to be difficult for you? You come from the NFL, you've got NFL money, then you've got WWE money. How can you have that hunger if you've got the comfort of what you've done in your past?
It's very simple for me because it's just built in me. Like, I started a coffee company and I'm making 7 figures already. So now I'm investing all this time researching coffee, trying to plan trips to Costa Rica, Ecuador, all these countries to go look at farms for green coffee, learning about coffee, roasting coffee. I pack it myself. So my coffee company, Open Air, I roast it myself. I source it myself. I package it. I hand write labels. You know, I'm doing all of this. I'm making 7 figures over here. Who does that?
That's amazing.
Who
Congrats.
invests all this time into
7 figures just from the coffee?
No, I wish, brother. From wrestling. But I do that while I'm wrestling. And like, I'm just one of those guys who's hungry to continue to create, to continue to have success. Because of a lot of things I've done. Like, my hunger from the NFL, performing and playing in front of massive crowds, led to the hunger in WWE. I want that back. Like, that's still what will drive me. You know, last night that show was amazing. The crowd was amazing. I want that again. I want it on a bigger magnitude. The money is whatever. Like, it comes and goes. I don't have to think about it, which is the beauty of it. So it's not. Now, some people are hungry for different reasons. I need to be able to eat this week. I've got to go do these 4 shows. I got to sell this many tickets. I got to sell this merch. And that's what drives them to do that.
Yeah. So
yes.
So what drives you?
I don't know. It just, there's something inside me. I'm 40 years old and I'm competing in jiu-jitsu tournaments. I'm training 3-4 days a week in jiu-jitsu. I'm going to the gym. You know, my wife is on me because we got back from Christmas and holiday. I was like, all right, we're back super tight on diet. And she's like, oh, because I don't cook all the great things she wants to eat sometimes because I'm stuck on this things. There's just something in me that is a natural thing that drives me to be successful, keeps me hungry, keeps me motivated, keeps me disciplined, and pushes me to that next level.
It was cool to see you on that podium for jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, it's awesome. And it's like, and it's so funny because like, again, I have some screws loose in that sense of like, you know, who wants to do this? And now I'm going to a whole new level at Purple. But like, I fought the heavyweight division and I took silver. It was BS, by the way. The dude was literally crying because I was cranking on him so hard. They should have said verbal tap, but he beat me on points. It's my own fault. I wasn't tracking the points and I was trying to finish him. That sounded wrong. I was
cranking
trying
on him.
Yeah. Woo! I'm married to a woman, ladies and gentlemen. No, yeah, weird. I was trying to hit the submission and trying to get him to tap, and he didn't. Time ran out. He beat me, and immediately I stepped off and I go, all right, I'm signed up for the open division because I want my gold. And then I smoked everybody in the open division, because it was like some people be like, silver medal, jiu-jitsu, that's super dope. And I was like, not enough. I want that gold. So I went back and I fought 3 more fights after I'd already fought 3 fights. So I did 6 in one day.
Wow.
And like, my wife's like, are you coming over for dinner? Nope. I got to get open division. I got to get my gold. And like, then I'm like, when's the next tournament? I'm doing one in February in Atlanta at Purple, whole new division. It's going to be a whole nother level of competitors. I mean, people think, oh, even people like last night when I was walking out, some guys like, your blue belt's not going to help you. And it's like, man, it still takes you 4 years to get a blue belt. Like, to get, you're at white belt for probably 2 years, 2.5 years, and then you're riding your blue. And I mean, I've been doing jiu-jitsu for 4.5 years and got my purple. Like, to get to your black takes 10, 15 years for some people. So I have something in me that I am just kind of that guy where I'm never satisfied. Whether it's weird too, because sometimes I do say, how are these people not satisfied? Like, oh, you have $10 million in the bank. How are you not satisfied? Why are you not home with your family, your kids? But no, you're doing all this. And I get there and I'm the same way at the end of the day. Like, I'm not satisfied with what I have. I want to, and it's not a greed thing. It's not a, I need more money thing. It's, I chase that feeling, the feeling of it all. I don't care if the money comes with it at this point now. That's a beautiful thing that I've set up. Like, I can go do these shows, and not have to worry about, like, you know, if somebody's like, hey man, we got a really cool show, really great opportunity. It's going to be a fun crowd, but I only have this much money to pay. Okay, cool. Let's go do it. I've taken that out of the equation, which I think makes me more hungry for the success because it's not about survival at this point. It's just about like chasing that feeling. I want that feeling that I had when I beat Kurt Angle at WrestleMania. I want that feeling when I'm walking down in front of 80,000 people at a WrestleMania or coming out the Rumble and everybody's going crazy and performing it. Like I want to perform in the Tokyo Dome. Like what? How epic would that be? So like now I'm hungry for that. Like it's those next things. Like and it's cool because I have the freedom to take risks and I have the ability to go different routes versus I need to eat this week, so I need to work in Bettendorf, Iowa in front of these 60 people, or I can go, I don't need to do that show. Like I want to push to try to get on this show. Like I have that ability. And I think that is a cool thing that I have going for me right now. And I have the support of my wife and my family to kind of, do this. Hey, movies. Like I'm going to shoot mid-February. This guy is doing a short film, kind of Grand Theft Auto-y, and I'm going to do a role in that movie. It's a little short film in like 2 or 3 weeks. And it's like, he's like, I'm self-financing it. I'm not worried about it, dude. Let's do it. Like I can take these risks to get to that next level, which is a really cool thing where maybe somebody's like, I can't do it because I need to make this much, So it's really kind of just surreal to be able to have that.
You put out a tweet about a match and a great story around this match with John Cena versus AJ Styles versus Bray Wyatt versus Dolph Ziggler versus Apollo Crews versus Baron Corbin. You said maybe you can share this great story.
I will share it because I love this story. I will start with the backstory of it. So when Nexus was up on television, Bray Wyatt was not Bray Wyatt. He was Husky Harris, right? We're going back here. And there is a rumor that I believe is 100% true that Husky poked John Cena in the eye in a match. And Vince was so mad, Cena was so mad that they sent Husky Harris back to NXT. We're all grateful for that because Bray Wyatt was born, right? So this story of like, you got to, and like, I'm going to tease Randy because Randy's a buddy of mine, but you're always taught like, don't hit Randy. He doesn't like to be touched. It needs to be, so like everybody's kind of scared to work with Randy and it's not like that. Randy's tough sometimes. Sometimes he's a baby. Sometimes Randy, I know you're listening. You're kind of a baby sometimes. I love you. But so this whole rumor of like Cena's been poked in the eye a couple times and it sent Bray back to NXT for like 2.5 years. Like this was a massive punishment for that, right? So fast forward to this 6-man, and I'd only been on the main roster. I still had hair. Like we're going way back, right?
Still had hair.
Still had the long, beautiful locks. And it's the beginning of the match, and the match starts. And this is my first big like match. We got a lot of crazy spots. There's a lot of cool stuff. And I got like a.
Oh yeah, sure, yeah.
Like a bubble.
Yeah, no, we got
This story's too good not to have a bubble.
Can't have a bubble in your throat while telling the story. I'll drink some water too.
So we get into the match, and it's the very beginning of the match, right? And I'm supposed to attack Cena. So I drive Cena to the corner, put him in the corner, and I wind back to throw a body shot, and my thumb lands about knuckle deep in his eye. And I'm like, oh no! And he starts dog cussing me. You mother effer, you. And he's dropping F, like we're talking first 20 rows are hearing this. And he's going, you mother effer, you poked me in the mother effing eye. What the F, boom. And I mean, he's laying it in on me. And I've got my back to him at this point, and I'm hearing all of this. And I'm literally about to start crying because I'm like, I'm finally on the main roster. I'm home up here. Now I'm going back to NXT. No, like I poked because this whole thing of Bray poking him in the eye, and I'm going, dude, I'm going back to NXT without a doubt. I'm so screwed. Like I don't want to go back to NXT. I'm so sad. And AJ is in front of me, but I know I have to turn around to John for the next spot, and he's still mother effing me up and down. And I was like, just. Like, can we rewind life like 5 minutes? Let me start over. Like all of these things. And then we're on live television. And these are all going through my head. And like the audience is even like, I can see in their eyes. They're like, John Cena's cussing. Like he's going ape shit on Corbin. And I was like, I have to turn around because like this is the time. Like I'm delaying this as long as I can possibly turn. I turn around and John punches me dead in the face, like dead in the face. And I mean, it was a solid potato. And I was like, I wore it and I was like, cool. Like, and then for the rest of the match, like I'm trying to remember these spots, but I'm trying not to cry because I'm like, I'm going back to NXT. Like I just got out of there. Like I'm so like just the range of emotions I'm going through for the rest of that match. I'm just like, dude. And I walked through the curtain so dejected. And they're like, that was amazing. And I'm just head down in the corner, like, it's over for me, man. Like, this is it. And John comes back, and I just look at him like puppy dog eyes, like, dude, please don't send me. And he's like, hey, that was great. And I go, John, I am so sorry. He goes, oh, we're good. I gave you it back. We're good. And I was like, wait, this has got to be a work. He's lying to me. I'm going to walk out of this curtain, and they're going to be like, we need you to get your bags. You're going back to NXT. Like, and luckily that was the end of it.
But you were good.
I was good. But like, I legit thought my life was over. I was like, this is it. Because I poked John Cena in the eye and he mother effed me up and down. And the whole match, I'm panicking, trying to remember stuff. And I walked through the curtain. He's like, oh no, we're good.
Oh man.
And I was talking, I think Road Dogg was there. And I was like, dude, I poked John in the eye. Like, what? And he goes, John always gets poked in the eye. And so it's like, what? Like, so was it my fault? Was it his fault? Like now I'm questioning, is John like poking his eye out there, like trying to get you to poke him in the eye? I was like, I don't know. But it was, dude, that match to me, but that will stand in my mind for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
That match will, because of poking John in the eye. After, like, again, this whole thing was set up by, Husky Harris poking him in the eye.
Yeah, there's the lore here.
Yeah, like that's the thing too. Like, if you stiff Randy, he's not going to work with you. It's like all those things. It was so funny, dude. It was so crazy. It's like those are the little things that stand out in your career too. Like, but that's one of them. And I've never brought it back up to John because I don't want him to remember. Like, it's one of those things, like, I'm 40 years old and I'm now telling the story, and that was like 8 years ago. It's like, it was so funny, dude. It was like, you mother effer. And I'm going, he's really mad.
But John Cena doesn't swear like that.
He doesn't.
Yeah.
He was in front of people. Like, I was like, dude, this is the end of it. This is the end. I told Apollo in the match, I was like, I'm sorry, man, it's been fun. We got brought up together. I'm going back. He's like, why? I go, I poked John in the eye, and he's like, oh. Like, the eyes open, like, he's like, I heard that story too. Like, it's like, don't say Bloody Mary. She's going to come get you. That's what I did. I said it. But I survived.
What a story.
Dude, it's like so much of like nothing, but it was so impactful in my life and in that moment that it's like, you'll never understand like the emotions I was going through. Because when I was finishing up in NXT, like I thought I was never getting out of there. Me and Matt Bloom were butting heads. We were not getting along. I was just like, man, it's never going to happen. Now Matt Bloom and I get along wonderfully. Like, it's so amazing, our relationship. I could call him and ask him for help, and he would do it in a heartbeat, if I needed something from him. And the effort he put into me when I was down in NXT and all of that, I love that entire staff, from Michaels to Terry Taylor to Norman Smiley, all those guys. Johnny, the writer, has done amazing things. I still call him and ask him for advice on things. But that end of that NXT run, like I felt like Bloom was nitpicking me to death. One time I was so mad. This is another little just fun story, but we did a show when I worked with Corey Taylor in NXT. And we had these NXT track uniforms. They were garbage. They were like hot, and they were made of a terrible material. I hated them. And the pants were really baggy and just didn't look good. I thought they looked sloppy. I lost 70 pounds. I was like, I need to show off this figure a little bit. But no. So Finn had actually bought me these really nice Adidas track pants that kind of matched the track outfit. So we finished this show, and I go to get on the bus, and Bloom looks at me, and he gets so mad at me for not wearing the correct NXT track pants because everybody's supposed to be in these track uniforms. And he cuts a promo on me about not being part of the team and not being part of NXT. And I'm livid. And I'm not saying it, I'm holding my tongue. And he chews me out in front of everybody on the bus in these pants. And I'm like, I'm an adult, dude. Like, you don't get to talk to me like that. I didn't say any of that. I just sat down and took it. And then like 3 people behind me, Finn gets on the bus with the exact same pants on. And not a word is said. And I was like, you mother, like I wanted to fight him. And we get back and we're still just butting heads, not getting along. And I told him, I was like, a conversation, I remember sitting on the edge of the ring with Bloom and arguing with him. And like, I'm doing the main event of NXT every night. It's like me, Samoa Joe, Finn, Shinsuke. We're running 4-ways. We're doing things. Sami Zayn's in the mix there. And then I'm at training the next day and none of those guys are. And I'm, so we're having this out a little bit. And I was like, these guys don't train, they don't do anything. He's like, well, you haven't done what they've done. They've all done independence. They've all worked in Japan forever. And I go, I don't care, dude. I played in the NFL. Like, it's the same thing. We're all a little beat up, man. Like, there's a level of this. And him and I were just really butting heads. And then, I worked that takeover and got brought up to the Andre. And I was like, I don't think I even went back to the PC to clean out my locker. I was like, that stuff's going, let them throw it in the trash. I don't even care. I left my apartment in Orlando fully with everything in it, locked the door and left. I was like, F this place, dude. I'm out. Like, I don't ever want to see the PC again. I don't want to see Orlando again. I don't want to see Matt Bloom ever again. Like, I'm done with it. And that's on me. I was frustrated. I wanted to be on the main roster. I'd been there 3 years. I saw other guys getting the opportunities or whatever. And I was like, man, you watch Braun Strowman go up and he has no clue what's going on. And I'm going, you learn that it's not about that. It's about filling roles and opportunities.
He got called up quick. Like,
he very did.
6
and
matches
he's
in,
doing
or 8
so
matches
great.
in. Yeah.
They know what they're doing. But I was angry, frustrated, bitter. And then Bloom and I hashed it out one year at a Mania at the after party at a bar in a hotel and talked it out. And like, we were cool. And then when I got back to NXT, I was nervous going back to NXT thinking, man, like, how's our relationship going to be? And it was so amazing. And I'm so thankful that like I can reach out to those guys now. And, like I said, I was angry. That's on me. That was my own fault. That's why, again, I try to do things that I don't let people control my emotions. Because I should have just, when I got on the bus, he said something, should have been like, okay, my bad.
Yeah.
I'll wear
It's hard not to take that personally.
But I felt like I was getting picked on because I wasn't the indie guy in a sense. But it's so cool that, like Matt, he didn't hold that against me at the end of things. Like, when we hashed it out, we're cool. Like, again, like if I called him and needed help, hey man, I need this, my daughter's in trouble, can you help me? He would get in the truck and drive down and help me. Like, we have a great relationship now, and going back to NXT and getting all that with all those guys was so special. But like, it's just crazy how all of that, but so the point of that, like, going back to NXT was a death sentence for me when I poked John in the eye, and I was like, Bloom's not going to take me back. He's going to fire me. Like, this is it. It's all over. The dreams are dead before they got started. So it's just all because of an eye poke. But here we are, 13 years later, GCW in the bank. Josh Barnett, I want to fight you again.
You're a Chiefs fan?
Oh, die hard, baby.
You're wearing the hat today?
I am. Kansas City. This, by the way, I don't know if you do sponsorships on the show, but City Brimco, they send, I keep the thing in there.
You do? My goodness.
It keeps it nice. It doesn't get smashed in my bags. I look up here at the TV.
Yeah, that's good. Check the monitor.
Yeah, it just helps keep it straight up. Their hats are super dope. From Kansas City, local. I got to support local. I love Kansas City, everything about it.
Are we going to see you in the suite with Taylor Swift again?
Maybe we need to party again.
Oh,
get the Instagram blow. Yeah,
that.
Dude, I had to get a...
How did that happen?
I'm cool. No, So
was that Travis Kelce's suite?
Yeah, it was Travis's. So really cool. Like, it's funny. There was again, born and raised Chiefs fan. So we deserve our three-peat, just so everyone out there is watching.
Oh, there's going to be a lot of angry people.
They're angry. Look, don't touch Mahomes if you don't want the penalty. Stop crying about it. You touch his head in any way, shape, or if you put a gust of wind on his head, you're getting a penalty.
He's getting the Brady calls.
100%.
Yes.
100%. I'm okay with it.
I'm a Browns fan. I know that they have no chance of winning.
Ever.
It's tough.
Ever. No, it is.
Tough.
I feel bad for you. I don't. But look, we had a lot of bad years in Kansas City.
But yes. But hasn't he been... Patrick Mahomes has been the Super Bowl MVP 3 out of the last 6 years.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, we're making a Patriots run.
Yeah.
We're going to go three-peat, and then there's going to be like, is there talk of 4? Let's go. So, anyways, the first year when we made it to the Super Bowl in Miami, Fox had the game. So I was like, I have to go. Like,
yeah, that was 2020.
Yeah, Jacob, help me. get me tickets, whatever it takes. And he's like, can you go do a media
The same
day
Fox executive we were talking about earlier, whose daughter was going to give you her
I love him.
allowance
I also
money.
am telling him, Jacob, get me on MasterChef, dude. Let me come
come on,
guest.
Jacob.
Gordon Ramsay,
Jacob's great.
can't cook better
I
than
sat
you.
near
but
him at a Raw recently.
He's amazing.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah, but I wanted him to get me on MasterChef on Fox. I want to hang out with, those chefs like Ramsay and them and Joe. And I want to compare watches with Joe. He always has dope Rolexes on. And his Italian food has to be amazing. But I want to go and like do it. So I'm always on him to do things. But that I was like, dude, you got to help me. So I got to go do a media day. And it was so funny because they're like, we want you to wear your crown in there. And I was like, man, I feel like an idiot. Like out of context, why is this gigantic guy wearing a crown that is like black and gold studded? And I was like, no, not doing it. Not going to wear that. So I went in and then I realized the madness that this press conference was. And it was all the players were set up at different podiums.
Oh, Radio Row, that whole thing?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and I'm standing there like, and I'm just watching these dudes like, I have no idea. I've got a WWE microphone and I'm like, this is awkward. And like dudes are just shoving their way in. They're like, let me, Patrick. And you have to kind of go, all right, get the crown. Like that's going to be I want to answer that guy's
That'll
question.
make you stand out.
He's wearing a crown. So I put the crown on. And of course, the first one I go to is Travis's thing. And he answers 2 questions and he looks right at me. I go, yo, Trav. And he's like, what up, King? And like, I was like, hey, man, I got a question. I said, I'm Baron Corbin from WWE. And he's like, oh, what's up? So we kind of are chatting. And all these other reporters like, who is this asshole? Like, wearing like, and I asked him a question like, yo, what would your finishing move be? Or, who would your tag partner on your team be? Whatever it was. And it was funny because then the following year, which we won the Super Bowl that year, I was at the game, front row. It was beautiful. Roman Reigns was at the game, a few rows away. And I was giving him the finger. And when we scored that game-winning touchdown, go Chiefs, down with the Niners to all the Usos and Roman. But I go back and I get invited to play in Big Slick, which is a Kansas City charity event that guys like Eric Stonestreet, who bleeds Kansas City, like through and through. He's a part owner of Royals. He's got a farm. One of the greatest human beings I've ever been around. You got Rob Riggle, Heidi Gardner, Paul Rudd, Jason Sudeikis, all these guys that put this David Koechner, they put this game on, and it's a softball game, it's a variety show, and it's hospital visits. And it's such a amazing weekend. I hope I'm a part of it forever because it's so hard and rewarding at the same time because every dollar goes to Children's Mercy Hospital in Kansas City, which is an incredible hospital. They do amazing things, amazing staff, amazing everything. So this game, we come in on a Thursday night and we do a dinner at the owner of the Royals house, but it's for companies or whatever. They buy tickets for an absurd amount of price, like $5,000 or something, and they get to come and mingle with all of these celebrities from the ones I mentioned that run the game, but then they bring all their friends in. I get to be a part of it. Other athletes are there. At the dinner, it's a lot of different people. They have like Logan Miles plays music. They have comedians. David Dustmunchen was there. He was a buddy of mine. Bitsy, who we talked about earlier in the car, she was there. There's so many girls from Modern Family. There's actors. I mean, massive stars that are at these things. And we kiss the ring a little bit that night and get people to do donations. They do a couple small auctions. It's such an amazing thing. Then the next day we go play Family Feud at the hospital. And they bring all the nurses and doctors into a room and we play for the floors of the kids. And it's so fun to be a part of that. Weird Al was on my team last year, which is so amazing because Weird Al's the best. We do all that. Will Forte was on my team, another guy who's just the best. And the list goes on. You could keep naming names. There's so many of them. But then we do that Family Feud. Then we play a softball game at Kauffman Stadium, which is just a total shenanigans. But Travis came out to that the first year I did it, and immediately, right, he's like, yo, you're the king, the WWE. And so he always called me the king. And we were kind of like buddied up a little bit that weekend and like, had a few drinks together, and it's like, oh, you're cool, I'm cool. Like,
so you become friendly with
that
Travis
one.
Kelce.
Yeah. And so, and then I'm going to continue to talk about this charity event because it's so amazing. But Then the next day we do the hard hospital visit, which is we're going to rooms of the patients and you're just being with the kids and the families and you're trying to allow them escape, whether it's 4 or 5 minutes. I mean, Sheryl Crow goes and sings in their room for them with us, and just amazing stuff. Blake is an amazing magician. He goes and performs. You're so lucky if you're in a group with like someone like that, because otherwise I'm just kind of like, yeah, I'm from the WWE, man. Hey, how's it going? Like, how you doing? How's the family? Because some of them are babies that are a month old, and some of them are 15-year-old kids, and they're fighting everything from terminal things to bad injuries to freak accidents. It's so I had a girl this year who was bit by a tick, and it made her just go haywire, had seizures, and like it wasn't Lyme disease. It was like something else. And like they were like, she's not gonna make it, and she pulled through. I actually reached out to the family. I was like, she's good. She's making a full recovery. Amazing. That's how good this hospital is. But that's a very like grounding, especially having kids. You understand, like when you see a 1-year-old in a thing, it's like dude, it crushes your soul, and it's like the world is not fair. And that's another thing where I'm like, dude, we just need positivity in this world in all senses. Like, it's cool if we don't agree on something, but like, let's not focus on that. Let's focus on things we do agree on, or whatever it is. Or be open to other people's beliefs. Like, Jesus, like, if this is what you like, dope. You're not hurting anybody, dope. Get it.
There's a quote, don't yuck other people's yums.
Yeah.
It's like a preschool quote, but I'm like, man, that's so good.
Yeah. That's a great.
You like something? Cool. That's fine.
Dope, right? As long as it's not hurting people, cool.
Great. Yeah.
So that's so great. And then they do like a variety show where they do like massive auctions. Like, well, there was one year where Sudeikis auctioned off Walk on Roll to Ted Lasso, flights to London, all that. It went for like 150 grand or 200 grand or something like that. We raise like over $3 million every year. I've done it a few years now. But then, so the next year, Travis is there again, and now we're like buds now. And then he's like, yo, come to a game. Let me treat you to a game. Stay in my suite. He's like, I own a suite there. Come to it. Let me know. He's like, here's my cell. Hit me up and come to whatever game you want. So then I start texting randomly, just like, yo, have a good training camp. And it's like super cool. And then I was like, hey man, I can actually make it to the game this weekend. Any chance at like doing it? I said, is it cool if I bring my uncle and my brother? Like, he's like, hell yeah, bring them, dude. Come on. So we went, they took us up to the suite. And then my uncle or my brother, one of the two, was like, I wonder if Taylor's going to be here. And like, as they say it, she like walks in the room. And it was like, yeah, right there, dude. And like, my brother's freaking a little bit. And like, she walks right up to everybody, gives him a hug, gave us a hug. Like it was like you were instantly family in that body. And it was crazy because I was like, we're a fish. Like, I wanted out of the suite for a little while because, dude, it's just mobs of people standing outside the suite just taking selfies of Taylor. And
of like, just her existing.
Dude, I've never been around someone. Like, I've gone to dinner with John and it's crazy. I used to run around with Ryan Dunn and it was crazy when he was in the prime of the Jackass stuff. Like, that is a different magnitude. You felt like everybody in the stadium is staring at you because you're standing behind her or whatever it is.
And they're like, why is that guy in there? Wait a
100%.
second. Is that Baron Corbin?
Yeah, there were a couple tweets like, yo, but then when I put out the selfie of us all, me, her, my brother, my uncle, everybody's like, what? Like, dude, it went mass. Like, man, I hope she like, it'd be cool if she posted. I get some more followers. I'm trying to get to 2 million people. Been stuck at 1.1 forever.
That's pretty great.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But like, had conversations with her, super dope, super humble.
Does she come with an entourage?
No. Oh. She walked in with like maybe her security guard, but like no entourage. And it's all Kelce's buddies from like high school and home, and they're all super cool. They're all like humble, and they're nobody's got egos in there. That's what the Jason Blum story comes from that I was telling you. Like, I felt like a jackass. But so Taylor's super dope. We went to a Christmas party with her and Travis after, where Travis threw a little Christmas party.
So you hung out afterwards?
Yeah, we hung out, went to the bar. Super dope.
What's her drink of choice?
I don't know what she was drinking, but she'll go. Like, I think it was tequila or vodka or tequila, one of the two.
Parties.
But not even that. She's just like a regular human being that is probably the most influential person in the world right now.
Yeah, and very talented.
Unbelievably talented. Yeah. Writes all her own stuff. But like, it's so refreshing to see someone like that. That's something in the wrestling world I'm going to bounce like. Roman Reigns is the biggest thing in wrestling. Cody's getting up there, but Roman's on a pedestal all of his own. Roman has no ego. Roman doesn't treat people bad. Roman doesn't carry himself different than, he carries himself different. He doesn't carry himself above other people. Like he's not, if Carmelo Hayes goes and asks Roman for advice, Roman's going to be more than happy to give it. And it's, Carmelo's been on the main roster for a hot minute, right? Roman is unbelievable and a good human and a good person and a good family man. And he's humble and he is the guy. Same with Taylor. Like she is all of those things. For her to come up and just give me, a complete stranger, a hug, and she doesn't know that I'm there with Travis unless Travis said something, is like, yo, like, how many people do you know like that are going to walk in and be that welcoming to anybody and everybody in there? Now, granted, that's her box. Like, she's not going to go do that out in the live audience because she'd get mauled to death. But like that speaks volumes on the type of person. Same with Travis. Like that speaks volumes for him to invite me and put me in that atmosphere of what kind of person he is. It's so neat. But so after the game, before we went to the Christmas party, it's so cold in Kansas City that weekend, but it was fun. We had lots of drinks that night.
Keeps you warm.
Yes, it does. So the end of it, I'm talking and there's this guy there and I'm like, man, he kind of looks not out of place, but you're like, he's obviously not with all of this crew. Like he's there for another reason. And so I'm talking to somebody else and they're like, oh, he's a big horror guy. And they point to this guy. I'm like, oh yeah, man, like that's awesome. I said, I love horror movies. He's like, what do you like? So I start naming off movies and like all my like cult classics from like 80s to Reanimator to Poltergeist to Paranormal Activity and whatnot. He's like, yeah. And I go, what about you? And he's like, this movie. And I'm like, oh man, those are all really good movies. And I'm thinking like, that's cool. And then I was like, he said something else and it still hadn't clicked. And I was like, I said, I like, Blumhouse movies like A24. I said, I'm actually going to a A24 premiere tomorrow. And he's like, oh, that hurts. And I was like, well, it's for it's the
Iron Claw.
The Iron Claw movie. I said, it's not a horror movie. And I said, why? And he's like, well, I like these movies. And I was like, Blumhouse movies. Those are all Blumhouse. And he sees it click in my head and he kind of is like, and I was like, no. And he's like, yeah, Jason Blum. It's like, no, like, I'm not it was just out of context. It's like one of those things. Like I've walked by somebody wearing my own t-shirt before and they didn't notice it was me. And it's like, cause it's when it's out of context. Sure. Sometimes you're just not self-aware and paying attention. And I was like, I'm standing there listing like movies from A24 and from Blumhouse and from like other media companies. And I was like, man, if I had known that was him, I'd have been like, oh yeah, I only watch Blumhouse movies. Like,
that'll be a good person for you to know.
Right. I want to be in a horror movie. Don't hold that one against me. It's just kind of funny.
I've heard Taylor Swift's recall is incredible.
It's got to be.
Like if you were to see her again now, she would list off all the things you guys talked about.
I mean, I think to do what she does, put on a 3-hour show every night and like memorize all these songs and the notes and play the guitar, play the piano with choreographing a dance. I'm going, how the heck you have to be special.
I saw something where she was training while running on a treadmill and singing her songs to see if she could have the cardio to do it for a show.
I wouldn't doubt it.
What?
You have to have a special talent. Like, it's so funny because I look at other industries. I went to my first Broadway play ever a couple months ago. I took my wife to see The Outsiders.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a Broadway guy now. Like, that was the dopest show I've ever seen in my life in person. Like, it was so cool. But I'm watching it and I'm going, how do they remember all this? And then I'm going, I do the same thing.
Yep.
I remember Paige promos on a 10-minute, you got 10 minutes to learn this. Go do this. Plus I got a 30-minute match or a 20-minute match or a 15-minute match. All these different things. And I'm going, it's just when it's what you do, it's what you do.
Yeah.
Like, but that show was amazing. There was the girl who plays Cherry is one of the best singers I've ever seen. And it looked so effortless. And then the guy who played Daryl, another one, his singing was just, it blew me out. But then I'm going to be overcritical on a fight scene, right? Like, this is what I do for a living. I beat people up and not actually kill them. Even though sometimes when you throw like a Rey Mysterio off a roof, it looks like they die. Or you smash Madcap's head with the Andre the Giant trophy. Like, they're not actually dying. But so I'm going to be hypercritical. And then the way they did it, where it was like, dude, they were fighting in slow motion, in the rain, the strobe lights. It was such a cool thing. I want to go back to another one. It's like, if I was going to, because I was in New York yesterday, I was like, do I have time? And I didn't have time. I was going to go see the same thing again.
Wow.
It was such a cool thing.
You have this reputation for being safe to work with.
Yes, a few times.
Which is great, right? It's a badge of honor.
Yeah.
There's this spot with Dolph Ziggler.
Yeah.
You know the spot.
Yeah, when he trips on the step.
He trips on the step and you catch him.
Yeah.
Because it could have been real bad. You catch him and you turn it into this great move. But man, that could have gone south real quick.
And I think he even said thank you as I caught him. I mean, knowing Dolph, he did. And it's so funny because the Deep Six, he always just called it the Whirly Bird. Like, he's like, the Whirly Bird thing, because he could never remember the name. And that's where we were going. And he clipped that step, and I luckily could react fast enough that I caught him from just, head first into something bad. And there's been a few things like that. Like, there was one time I was doing a pop-up with Gable where I was going to catch him slam, and he landed funny. And if I had just continued with it, it would have dumped him on his shoulder and his neck. And, I corrected and landed him flat. I think that's the opportunity that I got to work with Kurt, because I could get through without hurting him. And there's one time in a match, we're opening the door a little bit here, but it was me and Drew and Bobby when we were destroying everyone. And it was me, those two versus Kurt, Finn, maybe Elias, not positive who their third teammate was. But there was a point where Drew was in with Kurt, and Kurt is screaming, "Tag Corbin back in, get him back in." And he's like, "You're killing me." Like, it was pretty funny. So like, that is a thing. And that's like, like Randy wants to work with me because I'm gonna, he's not gonna get hurt. And plus there's things like, I can maximize things like a punch and get a reaction, the same reaction I'm gonna get if I do a superplex or a triple power bomb or whatever crazy move we want to do where someone almost gets killed. Like, so there's times like I had Daniel Bryan on top of a cage in elimination chamber match, and he's like, superplex. And I go, why? I'll get the same reaction out of just hitting you with a right hand and telling the people how good I am. And he's like, do it. I'm like, okay, here we go. Off the top rope, superplex to Daniel Bryan. Like, it's like, I think guys just trust me with their bodies and their safety. And I've always taken pride in that. Again, that goes to the note of like, I want to make guys better than they are. And then there's guys that don't need help. Seth Rollins doesn't need help. But if I'm flying around for Seth and he's bouncing me all over the place and I'm getting the heat that I need for him to get cheered when he starts making that comeback, it just makes everything better. But keeping guys safe, because you got to do this 4 nights a week, man, 3 nights a week with each other. And, if I'm hurting somebody, they're not going to want to work with me. Or if they get hurt, like I was supposed to have a SummerSlam match with Kalisto, and Kalisto got hurt on a clothesline out in a 6-man that we did that he took from somebody or something and hurt his shoulder. And then I didn't have my SummerSlam match because we were supposed to work SummerSlam. And, so you realize, man, if people are on the shelves, it's less opportunity. So my job, and something I'll still forever take pride in, is keeping guys safe and making it so we both walk out of there. And not everybody's like that, man. Some guys are going to just get their shit in, for lack of better terms. They're going to do their thing regardless of how it affects other people. And that's just not me. Like, I may have a different outlook again, where, like I said, I want everybody to have success. Like, I don't care if CM Punk is making more money than me, if we're on the same, like we're both being successful. Like, comparison is a thief of joy. My CPA actually told me that to me one time when I was complaining about something, and that kind of changed my perspective on a lot of things. It's like, dude, just wish success for people on all things and for everybody, whether I like you or not. There's guys on the WWE roster that I do not care for. I don't care for them in the wrestling world. I don't care for them outside. I still want them to be successful. I want them to accomplish great things. I would never let my selfishness dictate that. So that's something that comes from that, taking that pride of keeping people safe. I think it's just something in me to do that, and it's to help people. I see random GoFundMes sometime, and I'm like, oh man, this person needs a little help. Here we go. Like, it's to be a good person. And I was listening to an interview Dax Shepard did one time, and he was talking about his wife, and he's like, I was very like, I don't like to spend money. I like to just hoard it all and da-da-da. And he's talking about, he's like, but my wife, Kristen, just gives it away. And he's like, wow, how can you do that? And then he's like, I realize she's giving away, but more's coming back in. And he's like, wait, if we're good people, like, it's like kind of, she taught him like, hey man, like, help other people. It helps you in turn. not selfish. It's just good karma. It's good being a good
Secret
person.
to living is giving, I've heard.
I mean, I think so. And it's not just a monetary thing.
Yeah.
Give people your time.
Yes.
Like
Give
you're
people
giving,
your
you're
attention.
giving me time right now here to tell a story, and people are going to watch this, and maybe something from this conversation is going to help them, or they're going to enjoy it, or they're going to understand more. They're going to find entertaining or funny or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, giving, like, especially my kids, like now, you know, I was starting some stuff on Twitter the other day because I was delayed in the airport or whatever. So sometimes I just like to fire people up, but I'm talking back and forth. And
Is that what that was? You were just bored?
Yeah. If I'm going back and forth, I'm bored. I need something to do. And people are like, oh, you're begging for a job. I'm like, no, I don't need a job, man. Like, I'm home with my kids right now. I take my daughter to school 5 days a week. I get to play with my other daughter during the day. Like, make up for time lost of being gone. I'm gone this week. I was in New York yesterday, LA today, LA tomorrow. So you're giving, like, you're giving time, you're giving attention, you're giving a conversation. I like to talk to random strangers and just hear what they have to say, like whether it be at a bar or sitting there talking at a restaurant, or, I've had conversations where people start a conversation and it gets really deep with a complete stranger, and they're like expressing things that maybe they've wanted to get off their chest for a year or 2 years that's bothering them, and they're going to get no judgment from a complete stranger in a sense. And it's like, so I'm giving someone time and giving someone an ear to express themselves. Like, that's a cool thing to do, man. Like,
hey, people were really coming at you on Twitter, and all you were saying was like, that's how a contract works.
Yeah, it's not
This
a
is how
difficult concept. It's like, and again, too.
And I'm not saying it's right or fair, but you're saying this is how a contract works.
Yeah, I'm not saying that one side or the other side is correct. I'm just saying simply that's how they work. Like, I've signed NFL contracts. I've signed 5 WWE contracts. It's the nature of the beast. Like, and it's the same in any industry. They may not be the greatest contracts when you start out. They are unfair. You're fighting an uphill battle sometimes in a contract. The music industry, I mean, 50% of your money is gone like that, and it's a contract. But you're a band. You're trying to make it. You got to do it. You got to sign the paper. And you got to get through it, and then you can kind of start to negotiate terms. It's just one of those things. They're there to protect both sides. Usually they benefit the person giving the contract a little bit more than they do the other side. But at the end of the day, those people arguing over contracts, number one, everybody that's commenting on social media, including myself, we don't know the inside thing that's going on. There could be bad blood there. There could be things one side said to the other. Nobody has a clue except for those people in that small circle. So you can't say one person is right, one person is wrong, because nobody actually knows the answer to that question.
You don't know the full story.
100%. But what I do know is how contracts work and how unfair they may be. No one is forcing you to sign it ever. Every contract that's ever been put in front of me, you've never been forced to sign. I've been in some sticky situations where, like, I was supposed to sign a new 5-year deal, and I've been pushing it off because I was not agreeing to the money that WWE was offering. I felt like my value was higher. And then I was approached at WrestleMania before my match with Kurt, and they were like, hey, we need you to sign this deal. And I went and had a conversation, and I ended up signing the deal. But I was like, hey, man, can we reevaluate this in a year if this is where we are? It was one of those things where, and Hunter said it to me, and I fully get what Hunter said to me, but when I was asking for more money, because it was like my second contract. I'd finished my first. I didn't ask to renegotiate. I was out earning my downside. I was happy. And then my next offer was lower than I wanted. And Hunter's had a conversation with me, and he said, look, like, you can out earn this. And I'm going, yeah, if I'm booked correctly and on pay-per-views and all things that are out of my control. I can't control who you pencil in for these things. I can do my best, because look at where I'm at now. If you went based on reaction, I would have been in that upper, not the tip top, but I would have been in that next level of guys based on reactions and based on people cheering for me and based on what I was putting out as a product. I should have been on some of those pay-per-views, but I wasn't. But it's not in my control. I was barely on TV coming back up after the draft. I deserved to be on TV, and I deserved to be working in programs. And they threw me and Apollo together, and it started to really work. And I thought we had something special. And Apollo was showing out, and he's still crushing it. I'm so happy for him. He's getting a lot of TV time right now. But those are things that are out of my control. So you're telling me I can out earn this downside, but I can only do that if I'm booked this way, because I'm a heel, number one. So I'm not slinging merch, and I'm not getting asked to do the Snickers commercials, because I walk out and not even walk out. The second my music hits, it's guttural boos throughout every arena in the country and world. So I'm not getting all those little things that good guys get, those monetizing opportunities. So I feel like my worth is higher than this. He said, we also have to figure out and make sure you're not a flash in the pan. He's like, yeah, you're hot right now, but what's 6 months from now? What's a year from now? And I'm going, okay, I get the business sense. They don't want to offer me this deal that I'm fighting for every penny, and they meet me where I want to be, and then they lose out on it. Like, the contract is going to benefit the person handing the contract. And I had a conversation, signed the contract. 2 years later, it was a 5-year deal. 2 years later, Vince brought me to the office, up in a very fancy office at the Royal Rumble, and was like, hey, you're underpaid.
Wow.
Let's fix this. He offered me a different deal, and I said, no, thank you. This is what I want. And he said, do you want to bet on yourself? I said, absolutely do. He goes, how about we do a 1-year deal for this much? Done. Bet on myself, and it worked out fantastic for me because 10 months later, I got a fantastic deal. And it's like, I've had, like I said, 5 contracts there. I bet on myself through them. I did it again. When I went down to NXT, that day they were releasing everybody, a guy named Dan was in charge of all that, right? And I had no idea they were releasing people. So I see that I had a missed call from Dan. I just got out of like a boxer size class, like one of those places.
Yeah.
I was wanting to get back in boxing. And I was trying to, again, I was told to lose weight for some reason. Who knows? I never thought I was in bad shape. I'm used to be 330 pounds. There's going to be loose skin, not abs. It's just the nature of the beast with me. I was a gigantic refrigerator. But so I was trying, again, you want me to be professional and do what you ask me? Done. Let's go. And Dan, I would call him and he's like, hey, I think you've seen, we've been releasing people today. I go, no, had no idea. And so I was like, wow, I guess this is the call. I'm done. This is, maybe September while I was in NXT. And he's like, we're not letting you go. And I go, okay, so what's up?
That's good news.
And he goes, we can't keep paying you what we're paying you with what you're doing in NXT. I was like, okay. He's like, you're going to have to take a significant pay cut. I go, okay, so what are we talking? And again, I'm fine with it because I understand I'm a business guy. You can't be paying me this monster contract of main roster. Well, what I thought was monster. While I'm in NXT working 1 day a week, if that. So
and you're living in Tampa, driving to Orlando.
Dude,
that's great.
Cush life, baby. So then I was like, what is it? He's like, I don't know yet. We'll be in touch. And then we had 3 or 4 months go by, and then I think it got all the way to December, and then they made the offer, and it was not what I expected. And I was like, I don't know, man. I can't do that right now. Let me talk to my wife, blah, blah, blah. And Shawn Michaels is the one that actually talked me into it. And he's like, you can make as much money as you want in this business, in a sense of like, you're in control, you can out earn. And Shawn kind of talked me, and they told me the plan of potentially working with Braun. And like, I was like, all right, again, money, whatever. Again, my wife can help. I control everything with that myself. I keep myself separate from all that because I'm just like, this is what I want to provide for my family. And I don't look at that. My wife, again, is a boss and does well. But so then I signed. Like, I understand how contracts work. I understand sometimes they're fair, sometimes they're not fair, but they're a necessity to protect people. And I mean, there's things like people hate in WWE contracts. Like, you're an independent contractor. Can I go do this? No. Okay. Like, own your likeness. Like, it is what it is. Like, you can't change that. So that whole situation that's going on over there, I'm commenting strictly on the contract aspect side of things. It's legal. It's binding. It sucks. It sucks for both sides. Because outside looking in, one guy wants to work, they're battling, they're not arguing, he wants to leave, he wants to go be with his brother, whatever it is. It's hurting both sides, but one side can't go, oh yeah, you're right, man, let's just rip this up, go do your thing. And the other side can't be like, he can't fold and go against it. It's just the world we live in, man. Yeah. It's movies, it's law, it's buying. I mean, how would you buy a house, you sign the contract, they're like, but somebody came in with a bigger offer, so we're just gonna, you know what I'm saying? Like, the contracts are there to protect people. It is what it is. It sucks. Sometimes it's not pretty. Sometimes it's great. Sometimes it, for that side, AEW world, the rumor is the contracts are guaranteed. WWE, they're not guaranteed. So like, are you fighting over apples and oranges? Different things. I don't know. Nobody knows. Does WWE, are they bringing him in? Nobody knows. It's
what are you doing responding to these people on Twitter?
I'm bored, man.
There's many.
I know.
Read a book.
I just got a new book.
Listen to a great podcast like this one.
Yes.
Like
listen to it. All of the episodes.
But what are you
I don't know. You get caught up sometimes again.
Well, and the problem is it's like a snowball going down the hill.
I know, but also
now you got to respond again.
I got ramped up though, because I have no handcuffs now. If I want to say a potty word on Twitter, I can say it. I'm like, I can kind of be on the edge a little bit.
Then maybe you should just send a tweet that says like,
once a week, just write SHIT and then tweet, and then
boom.
like that will fix that thing. So like I kind of got caught up in that. It was funny, and like I used to destroy people on Twitter out of fun, and like then I was like, oh, I'm a good guy now. I can't do that now. So now it's like I don't have any rules. I can do this.
With all of this said, do you think the door is open to go back to WWE one day?
I think so. I don't think it ever closes. I mean, how many people? Look at the roster now of guys: Cody, Drew,
Punk.
I mean, Punk's the guy who said he would never, ever, ever, ever go back.
Hey, he said that in an interview with me.
There you go. Punk, you need to come for round 2 and explain yourself.
Ooh.
You're in LA. You're here. Get your butt here.
Agreed.
You texted me today anyway, so get your butt here. Do the podcast. I'll get McAfee here too because you talked about him.
I need to do.
We got to get McAfee.
Or I'm going to be in Indianapolis for the Rumble.
He'll probably wear shorts and flip flops.
I'll be right in his backyard.
Yes,
you need to make this happen.
I'll make it happen.
The door's open.
Yeah, I think it is because there's so many people that have gone and come back. And again, I hold no ill will towards WWE because I'm so thankful for everything they've ever given me, the opportunities to perform in front of millions of people on TV, in person, go to Boys and Girls Club, pull a plane for Special Olympics. There's just so many cool things they do. And now, like, I was a little bummed I didn't get to be on Netflix. Like, how cool is that? Like, it's such a really awesome thing. And things are changing there. I never thought I would see, like, logos on the ring because it's been such a historic business of, like, don't change this. Like, this is the history. We don't mess with it. And Hunter's bringing a new light, a new vibe, a new energy. And I think it's going to bring new fans. You're seeing celebrities. It's not what it used to be where guys were like, are you a wrestling fan?
Yeah.
Like, don't let anybody hear me tell you, but did you see Raw last night? Now it's like, this is cool, man. This is fun. Like, people, stars, from Kittle to all these people. Mahomes was at a Raw.
Bad Bunny's wrestling. Dude,
Bad Bunny's killing it. One of the best celebrity
Vanessa
performers
Hudgens
we've ever.
is always around.
And she knows the product. It's not like, hey, we're bringing these guys in and they have no clue. Like, we're just going to pay them to show up. Like, these are people who they know what they're doing. They know what they're getting involved.
Shea Jackson Jr. has a wrestling podcast.
I know,
now.
right?
Ice Cube's son.
He was asking me, he's like, hey, man, can I get you on the podcast? And I said, I already promised the first one to my man.
Hey, thank you.
So he's like, all right, let me get on there after. I go, all right, done. He's great. I told him, I said, get me in Den of Thieves 2, dude. And he's like, I'll try. And then they pushed filming and all that. And,
well, now you can be in Den of Thieves 3.
That's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping I get there with him. Like, that's the cool thing. I just want to do some fun movies with buddies and hang out and cook food, drink bourbon, work out, wrestle, perform.
Wear nice watches.
Yes. I got my holy grail. So I mean, I want to say I'm done buying them, but
maybe you shouldn't.
I've said that like 3 times.
Like, trying to get this watch from you.
They could try. My house is a one-way ticket. You come in, you ain't leaving. Good luck. I live in Florida.
Yes. Well, that says it all right there. I used to live in Florida. Good to see you, man.
It's so fun.
Always so good.
Hopefully a year from now, we're like, hey, look where we are.
Yeah.
You've done this movie. You're now with this company.
And I've talked to CM Punk and Pat McAfee.
Yes. Yeah. I love it.
I'm going to wrap this up with a question. I asked this to you last time too, but
always
gratitude's a big part of my life. What are 3 things in your life you're grateful for, Tom?
Obviously, number one, my family and my kids. I think I say it every time we do it. Like, to have a family that backs you and allows you. My wife saying, I'm like, hey, we got 2 kids at home, a 5-year-old and now 3-year-old, and I'm going, and a dog and a house to run. And she runs a company. It's not like she's a stay-at-home mom. She's got employees and everything. And I'm going, hey, I'm going to go to do this show in New York. I'm going to go do the podcast in LA, and I'm going to stay a little extra and try to have some meetings. She's like, cool, go do it. Go do your thing. Get it. Like, get after it. Like, to have that support. And it's the same with her. Like, there's times where she's like, hey, I got to reprogram these computers. I got to do this. I'm going to be a little like, get it, babe. Like, go do your thing. Like, I'll see you. I got the kids' dinner. I'll get them in bed if you're not home by 8 o'clock, like whatever it is, like to have that support system. And my mom and her parents, and they love everything we do and they support everything we do. Then grateful, like now that my time with WWE, I'm grateful for that, man. Like, thank you to WWE for giving me a platform to become something, to change lives, to impact kids and future superstars, and having everything they've given me. Like my kids get to go to a great private school because of that, and like they get to go on vacations and whatever it is, they've given me a life that I get to live that I'm grateful for and thankful for, and I don't take for granted. We talked about that, earlier, standing there in that street corner, going, man, like I've got a really cool thing. And then I'm grateful for the opportunities that I've gotten, and I'm grateful for the opportunities that have yet to arrive. So I'm looking for that. Those are my things I'm grateful for today. And then obviously grateful to be here with you and see you, just because like we have fun chatting, and I think we're cool, like buddies, but also like you having a new baby and like having 2 kids now, like I have it, and like it's such a cool thing. So like I'm grateful for like this little.
Yeah, man, I'm grateful for you. It's cool. Something about being a father, and then when it happens again, it just, I don't know, it changes your life.
Number 2 is not as difficult as the first, because now you actually have somewhat of a game plan. Now some of it will go out the window. Like we were talking cars on the way. I was like, no, bro, you got to have a stroller if you got 2 now. Like different, like there's different rules now that apply.
I love my pickup truck, but
the stress of things is a little bit less, where you're like, they're coughing. Do I need to run in there and check on them? Now you're like, they're fine. Hunter told me a story one time. He's like, telling me how each kid gets easier. When I was like, I got number 2 on the way. He's like, oh, it's easy. He's like, the first kid, like their pacifier drops, you're sterilizing it. You're putting it in sterilizer. He's like, second one, you're like, wipe it out. Third one, it's got a little dirt on it. Here you go. Like, it just becomes that. You're like, you realize how resilient and tough they are.
So true.
And so funny.
Well, I'm excited for what's next for you, man. Like, as of January 1st, you're able to do whatever you want.
As of January 1. And it's cool too, because like I didn't have to do the 90 days, because it was just, and like it's cool too to say I had a 13-year career with WWE. I wasn't fired. It was just, the contract ended and we separated ways. Like, how many people can say that? Yeah. It's a cool feeling. Again, no ill will, I think, on either side. I have one person that's against me, but maybe we can turn them someday, and they'll be like, man, I'm a massive fan of what they've done. So it'd be dope. Yeah. Who knows? I'm excited. I'm excited.